you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. In fact, right now, my sisters and I, we do once a month. We gather at my sister, the only sister who actually owns a home. We gather at her house and we do like a reading party sleepover on the first Friday of every month. So I'm just like in her office now, and after this, we're just gonna like read all night together. So
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
I have coffee and I have my faux rosé because sometimes you can get kicked off TikTok for holding wine glasses, so it's not rosé.
What? Well, this is definitely just a brewmate. There's nothing else in there.
We all have drinks.
Well, it's Friday night, so.
So this shirt you're wearing, good girl, is this like a shirt that you have that you sell?
Yes. So I do have my merch store. I took it down from my website because I'm trying to revamp it at the moment. So not currently available, but once I'm out of like deadline hell, I will, like focus on other things for a minute and I will get my merch store back up. But yes, these are available on my website. It's like backwards, but you get it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that I did order 2 of the Daddy Ronan room keys. It's not from your merch store, right? That's someone else.
No, so that's the Book Spice, but they are licensed.
Yeah.
So which means like, I've given them my blessing and they are allowed to do that. So, yeah, they're based out of Australia, but she makes so much incredible stuff. Like I love the room keys and the.
As soon as I saw them, I was like, I have to have one. And then I'm like, you know who also has to have one? Sarah. Sarah has to have one.
I know, she hit me up and she's like, just so you know, I bought this for us. And I was like, no. Okay. Thanks.
That's awesome.
That's so exciting. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this live with us. I've been pumped about it for weeks. We both have been like counting down the days.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. How was Book Bonanza? Not Book Bonanza, Readers Take Denver. Book Bonanza is in June.
Yeah, Book Bonanza is in June. Yeah. Let me tell you, Readers Take Denver felt like Book Bonanza. So I get that.
Like it was mixed them up, but in like a good way.
Yes, it was a lot in a good way. If you're the kind of person who likes a lot, it was a lot, but it was great. They put on a really great event. There were a lot of, it's one of those events where I felt like everywhere I turned, I saw somebody I knew, but like hadn't met in person. So it was just like, oh my God, like just constant. And it was so fun. And I met, a lot of people that I haven't met in person before. A lot of like book talkers that I haven't met in person. So we kind of do that awkward, like, I know you, like, hey, and so that was fun. But then quite a few that I have met, before and got to hang out with again. So it was a blast.
That's awesome. I had fun the whole time. Looking at everyone's content being like, I wish I was there.
Oh no, 100%. 100%. And then it looked like there was like this little after party dance floor thing, and I was like,
I know.
Are you going to any signings this year?
I'm going to Seattle in a few weeks here, but that's like a much smaller one. It's like the Love in Seattle.
It's a little bit smaller.
And then I don't have tickets for, no, Sarah and I are going to a Joe Arden event for his Chameleon Effect thing in June?
June 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but that's not really a signing. That's his event specifically for him. So, no. That's short answer. Long answer to a short question.
No.
I want to, though. I really wanted to go to Readers Take Denver, but we had like a family event that was conflicting. And then I really want to go to Love in Vegas, but again, I can't because it's like the window that my husband and I are trying to get tickets to go to Italy, and we just can't afford to do like 2 trips at the same time. So it's like I'll miss out, but like I'll be in Italy, so it'll be
fun. That's okay. You'll be in Italy.
You're like, it's a fair trade-up.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair.
For sure.
And honestly, after you like pay for everything and then get all the books you want, it's probably about the same amount of money. Not to lie, like it's a lot. So, but
And,
you know,
okay, I'm sorry. You go
go
first.
ahead. No,
Well, I'm like more of a. So I love having trophies of my favorite books, but I wouldn't consider myself like a book collector. So if I went to a signing, I'd almost just want to have like, I don't know, maybe a book of like stickers where it's like I could have authors sign and then I could put them in the books at home instead of having to travel with 50 books.
I see a lot of
It's
like
heavy.
really creative things when I do signings. Like a lot of people they'll go on like Shutterfly or whatever, and they'll make like those photo books with all their like favorite authors, and, like the cover of the book, and then like a place to put the stickers, and then we sign those, and then they just take that home, and it's like way easier than like, you know, the shelf of books or whatever. So
Sure.
yeah.
I do love putting signatures in the books.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the idea of like having some, I mean, those are really cute ideas, but I like being able to come home and maybe like take a sticker out and place it inside the book. Um, well, first of all, this launch for the highest bidder, I feel like was one of your biggest launches as far as content that I saw going at. Like, how was it? How have the numbers been compared to other books in the Salacious Players Club?
I mean, pretty comparable. It's all been, you know, all been amazing. From the minute like Praise came out, every launch has just been blown me away, blown me away. Because there's so much we can do on our end. You know, we create all this content to promote. But my favorite part by far is getting online like the week of release and seeing all of these edits that everybody makes or TikToks or whatever. And it's just such a blast. I mean, it's all so creative and amazing. And I just feel so incredibly like lucky and honored to like have people create stuff about my books. Like it's just so cool. I love it. So yeah, this launch has been just awesome, and I'm glad people are still like hanging on with the series. Like I knew that, you know, a 35-year age gap, a 56-year-old hero, like this is sort of a little left field. Like this is not your norm, you know. And I was like, you know, they might drop off like a little bit, but man, no way. Y'all hanging on.
We're dedicated to this.
I love it. It's amazing.
I was so here for it. I remember you saying while you were writing the book and like kind of giving us sneak peeks that Ronan was turning out to be a lot sweeter than you thought he was going to be, which I loved how he turned out. But did you have like a vision for kind of who he was supposed to be before you started writing, and like how did that change
A
into
little
like
bit.
becoming
I mean, I knew going into writing this book that I wanted him to be different than Emerson. I just didn't want to write Emerson again. I didn't want to, I mean, I love Emerson, obviously, but like, he had to stand out. He had to be different, you know, which is sort of where I did some research online, like what else, you know, can I write? And that's where I discovered like the pleasure dom dynamic. And I was like, oh, this could be really fun because he's a rich guy. So like, he wants to just spoil, like, how great is that, you know? I don't think it gets much better. I really don't.
so not for me anyway.
No, 100%. I'm just over here like looking. I'm like, where do I find this in real life?
Yeah.
Hold up.
I wish I could just supply one for everyone. That'd be great.
You're just like the Oprah Winfrey of Ronan.
You get a pleasure done. You get a Oh yeah, I wish I could, but yeah, he was a lot of fun to write. I worried a little bit writing it that I was like, is he too sweet? Because you know, you usually want your dom to be dominant, you know, like very tough guy, and I was like, he's so sweet, but I mean, he had his moments.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
for sure.
100%.
I really prefer like dominant marshmallows. Like
a dominant marshmallow.
Hand,
I really like that. I think somebody called it.
About, like,
oh, sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Someone called it what?
A cinnadom instead of like a cinnamon,
Like
It's
a cinnamon roll.
yeah, a cinnadom. I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Good. That's good.
It's fun to read about assholes, but in real life, I think if I always like the trope where he can be mean to anyone but her. Like I don't like bullies. I want him to be obsessed with her, but he can be an asshole to anyone else. But in real life, I think if I was with someone who was an asshole to everyone else, I don't think I could deal because I love people. I hate for everyone to be like, we don't want to hang out with you because your dude's a dick. So I love how he was like super personable and like could be dominant and like was possessive, but was still really sweet and like charismatic and personable. Yeah, everything about Ronan was just like cut and dry out of like my fantasies.
In what point of writing does the character change themselves? Have you noticed?
So for like somebody like Ronan, who's sort of popped up over a few books, I mean, I feel like by the time I started his book, I had an idea of who he was. I mean, I think one of like the biggest telling points for him was in Eyes on Me. He kind of had like this sort of really romantic like advice for Mia, and I was like, this guy's like, he's like a romantic dude, you know, like he knows what he's talking about. So I pretty much had an idea of who he was before, you know, I got to start writing him. Like same thing with like, I guess like Madam, like I've gotten to know her over 5 books now, and while I will say there's a lot about her we don't know yet, like I feel like I have a pretty good idea of who she is, and I'm excited to share her with the world.
I'm so excited for her book too. Okay, so maybe I just assumed. I always thought that the series was supposed to end at Mercy. Was that like never the plan, or was the last 2 books kind of a surprise? Like you just felt they needed to be written to complete the series?
It was sort of like when I started when I plotted the series way back before, you know, Praise. I can remember the name of the book. Jeez. I wanted it to be like a 6-book series, but at the time I was sort of like, this could flop. Like, I don't want to tie myself into a 6-book series and this just not go very well. Because I knew that the idea for the series, I was like, I really want to dive in and I want to make this very like interactive series, and where, you know, there's just a lot going on and people feel very at home in this series. But again, like you don't want to tie yourself down to 6 books. So I was like, we'll start with 4 and just see how it goes. And so obviously by the time Mercy came out, I knew there were going to be 2 more. We just had to announce it. So
yeah,
sort of.
I felt so because even looking back at my interview, or not my interview, sorry, my review of Mercy, I was like, the last book in the series. And then it was like the next day, you dropped like the 2.
It was
not the release dates for them, but the 2 like names of what the books were going to be. And I was like, what? You made me a liar?
I know, yeah, it was pretty close to when Mercy came out. But yeah, when I released Mercy, y'all did not know there was going to be 5 and 6 yet. I mean, and there's a lot of people who still don't know there's going to be 5 and 6 yet. But
really, who?
I get the question a lot.
Oh, this was good. What was my next question? Oh yeah, like when in this series did you know that Ronan and Eden were going to be the last 2 books? Like, was that always the plan in the plotting, or did you write these side characters that kind of just developed into main characters?
Yeah, I wish I could remember like the exact moment there was, you know, but I think even by the time I was done with Praise, like I knew, like, okay, you know, Madam Kink she's a powerhouse, like she's a force, and she's gonna need a book. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit dreading that. I'm okay now, but I will say towards the beginning, like when Praise came out, I was like, I don't want to write her book because like she is much smarter and more dominant than me, and I don't feel like I have what it takes. Like, I'm gonna have to do so much research. It's gonna be
Felt like you
crazy.
were pretty dominant because I thought, didn't you say in an interview one time that you relate a lot to Maggie?
To Maggie, yes, 100%. I think I
she's
relate a
dominant.
lot to Maggie's like upbringing and her past and her like position in her business and things like that. Like, very much. Am I as dominant as Maggie? I mean, I would like to be. Maybe on certain days.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I loved her character. I loved her story arc. I didn't think that you could make me like Bo, but you did it. I don't know how.
It's like my favorite. I'm a hoe for a redemption arc.
Love that.
I love a redemption arc. So
I thought we were gonna leave it at hoe, and I was like, oh, tell us more.
I'm a hoe. Just period. Full stop.
Dude, I feel like it's so crazy how you wrote a series that is so like sexy and like so dirty, but also feels so like it's a comfort read for so many people. And like for such taboo topics and things like that, to still make people feel very comfortable reading it, I feel like is a talent.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think I just wanted to normalize everything. Well, normalize like for people who want to get into that kind of stuff, like it can feel very like gatekeep, like I don't know, I can't, and while my series is never meant to be like this is how you do it sort of thing, but like I hope it inspires people that like just learn, research, get in there, like there's nothing stopping you, anybody can do it. So
truly I definitely feel like since reading this series that has opened up avenues to like reading other books with similar things, like my personal spicy life has improved.
Then my work here is done. I retire.
Well, no, you can't.
No, I feel like I'm very much a mix between Daisy and Charlie. Like personally, I know everyone has their own bag, but I remember feeling like, oh, I am Charlie. And then we met Daisy and I was like, but I also feel like I'm, and my husband is like Ronan as far as taste. He is so sweet and he loves being dominant, but I'm like, you can spank me.
You just might need to bring your own Eden.
Yeah, I just like don't want to hurt you. And like, if you've ever seen videos, he's kind of like a strong dude. And he's like, it would take nothing for me to really hurt you. Like, this booty's pretty strong.
It can take it.
And I kind of like that, but he's like very uncomfortable. So when I was telling him about running, I'm like, see, he doesn't like it either. He's like, no matter how much you like it, I just feel like not good hurting.
Yeah. I mean, you're not always gonna like match the person that has the same desires, so you gotta like find ways around it.
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't know. He gives me
bringing another person in. Spoiler.
Sarah, what character do you feel like you relate to the most?
Oh, Mia, hands down.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
100%.
I don't have Mia's confidence. I don't.
I wish I did.
I just don't.
Oh, I don't know. It's putting on a show. And that's what I like too, is I feel like she 100%, she's so good at being able to just snap into confidence. And that's what I feel like I can do really well too. I feel like it goes from like, I can be like, oh, I don't like these things, but I'm going to use that as a tool to actually make myself like them. I'm like, I'm going to make myself like this about me.
I love that.
I
love that. I feel like when I was writing Mia, it was very much like inspired by so many women on like TikTok and Instagram. Just the way she like would talk to her followers as she was like doing something, was just for me sitting and watching, everybody on here and like, I mean, just seeing all the confidence that a lot of people have like on TikTok and Instagram, like, man, I want that. I wish I could do that, but it's really inspiring.
And do it.
I love it.
I'll get there. Like Sarah said.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, are we gonna see more of Daisy and Ronan in future books?
So I think yes. I mean,
Like, are they gonna get cameos in Madame because they're best friends, right?
yeah.
Are they in Paris at that point in the timeline? Because that's like the epilogue, like in the future. But
Yeah, the epilogue where they moved was, I want to say, like 2 years in the future, something like maybe. Anyway, but Madam will take place like immediately after Highest Bidder. So yeah, I'm sure we'll probably see them. They have a lot of stuff going on.
yeah, will they be in potential spin-off series?
I don't know that yet. That is way too far in the future for me to commit to. I can barely commit to like.
Plotting. I feel like you're just an evil smut genius.
I mean, I will say that I do love spin-offs, and I love the idea that all of my like books take place in the same universe. So there's always like some crossover possibility. So that's fun.
Do you think not do you think. Is Eden's love interest gonna be someone we've already met, or it'll be like a newbie? Can you say? Will you say?
I mean, can I say both? Maybe?
Yeah.
A little bit? Possibly?
Maybe possible. That doesn't answer the question.
Hey, Corley. Yeah, I didn't answer the question. Sorry.
Okay. You're trying to trap her.
I feel like such a tease.
I've seen you in interviews. You're like a little secret keeper.
I've done this with timer too, guys.
She'll get a shrug. I don't
know. Maybe not.
Nice.
My biggest fear is that like I'm gonna say something because I change my mind a lot, and people are gonna be like, "But you said last August that we were getting," and I'm like, "Oh shit! Well, I'm sorry." Okay.
We're good at that. We keep track.
Wait, I was watching your interview with Mal the other day. Did we settle on? Do we know how old Eden is?
34.
37 or 34?
34. I looked in Highest Bidder because he said I met her like she was 27. I met her 7 years ago. So I'm like, okay, she's 34.
Okay. I thought I was gonna hate the fact that Ronan was actually in love with Daisy's mom, because when you think about like, oh, the drama, he ends up with the daughter, you're like, oh, that means things must have not been that serious with the mom if he could,
yeah,
for the younger gen. But so we were both, when we first read it, we're like, no, we kind of hate this. But the more the story progressed, the more I actually was totally into it. I think it was very true to Ronan, and I'm not gonna say I'm happy she died. So
it just made things a little bit easier. I mean,
no, yeah. I need you to know we voice memoed about this because we voice memoed the whole thing, and I was literally like, not to sound like a really bad person, but thank God. I was like, because I was about ready to fight somebody if she was still gonna be alive.
I mean, I considered it. I was like sort of playing with it. I was like, how would this feel? And I mean, I didn't just kill her to make things easier for Daisy and Ronan. I promise. The whole story was about, I mean, her grief and her moving on and becoming an adult woman on her own. Like, it was all, part of the story. So like, I promise I did not just kill her mom just to make it easier for them. Like, that would be terrible.
You're just Disney up in here, just killing off the parents.
That would be very lazy writing. I promise that's not what I did.
No, it played out true to the storyline. I feel like it fits so well with everything and the character growth and dynamic. I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I am not a very sensitive person. I don't cry very easily. But when he forced himself to let her go so that she could heal on her own, and then she was like, he came to her performance at the piano bar. As soon as she labeled her first song the highest bidder, I just like artistic tears running down her face. Like I couldn't hang. I was like,
It's cute. It's cute. I couldn't hang when he was like, "No, you gotta do this by yourself." I'm like, "No, she doesn't." No, she just stay with her.
like what is wrong with being codependent? Okay, nothing.
Nothing. No, it's pretty handy when your boyfriend's a billionaire. I mean,
Truly.
You know what? You got me there. Money fixes everything.
yeah. Who needs to be independent, really? I mean,
in part, Sarah.
We're gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Money. Yeah, truly. I have some highlights that I kind of want to go through. Maybe not now, but later. Congratulations on Praise becoming a screenplay.
Thank you.
That's so big. So how long was that in the works? But like from the time they approached you to the time you were allowed to announce it?
Not very long. Not as long as I thought. I will say that. It all happened, I feel like, really fast. I think, it's probably going to be a while. I think these things go a lot slower than we're used to, like in book world. But yeah, it all happened pretty fast, and it's insane to me.
You do move so fast in this book world. Like,
yes,
I'm on some ARC teams where I'm like, didn't you just come out with a book last month? And the month before that.
I was shocked. I thought books were like movies. They took like a year to make. And like, I didn't even realize you were like, congratulations, Praise is a year old. I'm like, how is it? What? And I was like, are you just pumping these things out?
that's how it felt like for a minute.
It's crazy.
I'm
not. If I were to write a book, it would be a lengthy writing process for me.
Yeah, I'll say after this year, I'm pumping the brakes a little bit and slow down, because like you'll burn out so fast in this industry if you're not careful, because it is a demand. Like people are putting out a lot of books really fast, and so you sort of feel the pressure of like, okay, I've got to have a book every other month or whatever. But yeah, once you have a nice strong backlist, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna chill out for a minute.
Yeah. Are you allowed to tell us how many books like you currently have as like projects that are in the works?
In the works, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I'm not like writing right now, but I mean, 6, yeah, in the works.
She's just
right
cycling multiple computers.
I did a lot of reading before I ever got on Kindle Unlimited or TikTok on like amateur romance reading apps, and you'd be surprised at how many people they will update like chapter by chapter, so they won't like release a whole book. They'll be like, oh, this week as soon as I write it, they'll upload it. So you'll be following certain authors and they'll be updating like 4, 6 stories at a time, and you're just following all these different storylines. I'm used to it because I read a lot of like web comics where they're coming an episode a week, kind of like TV shows. But some people read it and it drives them crazy. They're like, 1 chapter a week.
No. When you have a problem, you need the whole book, okay?
That feels very much like what I do to my beta readers. She says that I edge her because like I'm like, as soon as I'm done with the chapter, you get it. But sometimes I'm busy, you don't get it for a couple of days. It's for people that like, Janine's like, yes. I feel cruel, but I'm sorry.
Ebooks, someone says. Book buying ban. 10,000 ebooks, babe. That's a library.
That is.
No, like I think officially any collection over 1,000 is a library. So.
Yeah, that is true.
Crazy.
Damn.
10,000 books. Woo! Okay, do we know yet if Praise is going to be in theaters, or will it go like straight to a streaming platform? Do we know?
No, we don't know anything yet as far as like production or release or anything like that. It's still just in its little baby form right now. So,
Got it.
yeah, as soon as as soon as we know anything, we'll announce it. So the producer is currently finishing a film like next week. So as soon as she's done with that one, then we'll move on and get started on Praise. So that's all I know right now.
I have no idea how fast things work in the film world. My dad, he worked in computer animation growing up, and things move much slower in like the animated
I bet
world than in like live action. And so I remember it took him like almost 2 years to do like a short film at the company he was at. So I'm like, how long does it take from the time someone says, I would like to purchase this screenplay, to the time like it's actually hitting the screens?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even stand how slow it is in like traditional book publishing. I feel like I definitely have ADHD because I cannot like imagine working on a project for years. No, I could never. I'm sick of this book and I've been writing it for like 6 weeks. Like I just want to be done.
Wait, do we know when the rest of the books that have been published in the series will hit like traditional bookstores like Barnes and Nobles? Because I only ever see Praise there.
Yeah. So I mean, if you were to go into my Facebook group, there's a pin post where I have shared when they're all coming out, and also when like the model covers will get pulled. But Eyes on Me is getting its traditional release in June. Don't ask me which day in June. I'm going to go with the 13th. I'm not even sure if that's right, but it is in June.
I actually do not have a physical copy of Praise. And the other day, my husband, we were on a date, and he took me to Barnes & Noble. He's like, you can pick out one book. And I was like, I kind of want Praise. And he was like, except for that, because I know you've already read it. And I need like,
except for that one.
A physical copy. And he's like, yeah, but I want to buy you something that like I'm going to see you reading. I'm like,
oh, that's sweet.
I loved Praise so much, I loaned it to my friend and it came back bent. So Sarah has to no longer loans books out.
Get out of here.
Cut off.
Yeah, 100%.
They give it back to you and they have a bunch of like ear dog pages.
I'm telling you, look at this book. I was so upset. Like she's all bent and the inside of her, she pulls her out of the purse like this. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, you're stressing me out.
I'm a weirdo in that I really love a worn book. I know that that's completely unheard of in the book community, but like I don't like it so much when a book is pristine. Like I like it when it looks like that thing has been through some reading.
That thing has seen war.
It has seen some shit.
Yeah.
I have videos where I would roll, because if it's paperback, I tend to roll sometimes to hold it, because some of them will get big, and then I'm like, I got tiny hands. And then people were like yelling at me in the comments. They're like, you're rolling it. And I'm like, I gotta hold it. I gotta hold it.
That's why I'm like a converted e-reader, because like I hate the
my hands cramping.
This is me. This is my iPad, but honestly, 70% of my reading is done horizontal in my bed at night like this.
And you don't need a light because it just lights up.
Exactly. And surprisingly, my phone is more comfortable to read than my Kindle. So like, my Kindle does not see a lot of love, even though it's
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Well, like at a certain time, the blue light turns off. So it's a little bit right. Do you have anyone, like, I know you don't like to make these kinds of decisions, but do you have an idea?
You know me. You must know me.
Like, actors to play Emerson and Charlie, where you're like, that I could picture that. That could be good. Like, not realistically, like, just your dreams.
In my dreams.
In your dreams.
I'm so bad at this answer. Like, I really don't.
This is Hugh Jackman. I'm just saying.
Who?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
I
I believe he could do anything. He's one of my favorite actors. I honestly believe he could do anything.
He's old enough too. Like, maybe he's a little too old.
Well, the one thing I will say about like the casting is a lot of people get really hung up on the ages, and I'm like, this is like movies. Like, it's like how high schoolers are always played like 28-year-olds or whatever, and like I think in our heads we picture like an actual 41-year-old actor, and I'm like, Chris Evans is like 41, and nobody seeing Chris Evans with a 20-year-old son. I'm sorry, but like that shit's never like that's just not gonna look the way on screen. The way
in a Silver Fox kind of way now. He's got like the face wrinkle. You can do makeup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But isn't Emerson supposed to be like what? Like 40?
41.
Yeah.
41. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the comments I see. Like Eric Dane, I see a lot. Joe Manganiello, I've seen that one a couple of times.
He's gonna be in
Magic Mike,
up, right? Yeah.
What's that?
Yes, he was in that. He's so handsome.
He is very handsome. But yeah. So I mean, I'm so bad at that answer because I'm sort of like, I don't really know. It could be anybody. Like,
I'm just happy this is becoming a movie.
I don't even care. Like, it could be anybody. I also think it's gonna really come down to like less what he looks like and more if he just has that like dominant presence, that like daddy presence,
Yeah.
I'm happily crawl across that floor for you, sir.
Yeah.
It was so good. In fact, my ratings of like how I liked them the best was like Praise was always number 1. I'm a sucker for a stepbrother. So then it was Eyes on Me. And then Give Me More was, I think, one of the first throuple books that kind of made me feel differently about throuple. Because like normally I'm too jealous. I don't like the idea of sharing in any capacity. Like on my kink quiz, I'm like 0% non-monogamous. Like it's just who I am. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about reading about a dude who gets off on sharing his wife. But I loved it. And then Mercy, all these books go without saying that they're phenomenal. But it was my least favorite because I don't like a bratty man.
That's fair.
But then Ice Bitter and Notch Praise for number 1.
Wow.
Huh. Yeah, just barely. They're both up there. But it's the heavier age gap. I'm a sucker for a heavy age gap. It's just a little bit more taboo too, because like your mom.
Your mom. Yeah. I mean, I'll say it. I've said it before. Highest Bidder is my favorite. I think he's my favorite. Like, I think it's just because he's my favorite character, and they're my favorite couple. But they're also like they're actually the most romantic couple out of all these romance books. They're the most romantic couple. Like, they're the only ones that were super gushy, in love with each other. So.
I love it. Like PDA, I'm all about it. I love how he couldn't stand to be away from her for like an hour while she was at work.
Yeah.
He's like coming up. They're like, let's keep this relationship a secret for now. And he's like, no, I'm gonna
Never mind.
Work and I'm gonna make out with you in front of everybody.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love how jealous she got over the ladies talking about him. That was my favorite scene, hands down. I was like, I love this whole scene.
And when he's like, come sit on my lap, make them jealous, I'm like, no!
The credit card thing where it's like, that was me. Yeah. I was like, just take my money.
Can I buy a daddy? Do they have those? Like, you know how you can buy a sugar baby? Can you buy sugar daddy? I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a sugar daddy if you're paying for it, but
yeah.
Like, do you pay for the experience?
Listen, I get this request in my Instagram DMs pretty often, so.
100%. Do you want to be my sugar baby?
Yeah, it's out there.
I love that. So, okay. I was talking about this with my husband the other day, where we're starting with Praise. I feel like that's going to be a good movie. But how is it going to be a one-off, or are you planning on leaving it open-ended for potentially the whole series? I'm like, how are they going to do a stepbrother and like a throuple on the screen to be like consumable for the public?
Yes, I will say I have thought about this too. We've definitely talked about it, and it's a good thing Praise was first, because Praise, I think, is the most easily translated book onto screen. It's just not it's taboo, but it's not as taboo. But yeah, like you don't see a lot of movies with stepbrothers, and you definitely don't see a lot of movies like Give Me More, where there's, you see it, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that you see more often in series than movies. And so I don't know if that's even an option, but it's certainly something a lot of people have brought up and talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who knows? Honestly, again, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just here for the
Sara Cate's just like, hi.
Mom,
Hi. Just here, yeah. I'm just enjoying the ride.
Anybody ask her questions, she's like, I don't know, what do you guys think? You tell me.
Sure.
You seem like a very, in a positive way, this is not a negative note at all, but you seem like a very introverted person. Going to big signings, is that like really overwhelming for you, or is it comfortable because you're in like your element?
I think I am pretty introverted, but at the same time, like, I don't know if you do like Enneagrams, but I'm a 7, so I'm a goer and a doer, and I think it is because I'm really in my element. I'm also always there with people that I really love, so I'm never alone. Like, if I had to go to a signing completely alone, I'm sure I would hate every second of it. But I'm never alone, because I'm like, there's always a lot of people there that I love, and we're hanging out, we're drinking. I mean, that helps. That'll kick the introvert like right out of you.
I saw Geneva Rose dancing with Kira. I'm like, oh, man.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
to have
that
Geneva
dance
Rose
floor
bend me over
had
like
me
that.
FOMO. I was
Yes.
like, I want to throw it back.
I was not there for that. I heard about it, and then I saw
The
it
video.
as well. I was very impressed.
She like went for it, and I'm like,
yes, it is a party. Like, it is, yeah, it's good. It's good times.
Our friend Tiffany was there. She said she met you, and she loved how laid back you were at your table, like serving cake and just chatting with
Who was it?
Tiffany Reeds.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we have
plenty of pictures.
She was giving us updates. In fact, she was on FaceTime with us. Not FaceTime, maybe it was a live. And Daddy Ronan walked into the background.
Yeah.
And was like, follow him.
No, yeah, instantly I was like, get in that elevator, Tiffany, get in it now.
No, I don't want to meet him like this. He's going to think I'm crazy.
I know. And then Cassandra's over here like, don't do it. I'm like, do it.
Do it.
No,
yeah.
I had this fantasy the other day because it was like a dream I had. Because my husband is also German. And he speaks fluent German. And so I had a dream that we were at a book event, and we like met Daddy Ronan, and they were both in like sexy suits, and they were just like speaking to each other in fluent German, and I'm just over here like in a puddle of goo. Like,
she all of a sudden wanted a throuple real bad.
I had like this, I'm like, what if my husband, okay, this is gonna sound so weird, but if you look at certain pictures of my husband next to him, they have similar facial features.
What if they're related?
I know. I was like, what if? Because he was looking like his dad. I'm like, what if your mom, like, what if she slept with this man in Germany? I'm just saying. And he's actually your biological father, and you just never know because you moved to America when you were 3. Like,
listen, I'm not going to be the one. Except I am going to burst your bubble. He's from Brazil.
Brazil? I thought he was German.
He's Brazilian. But
that's really hot though. Brazil.
You know, she could have gone on holiday.
Why?
To Brazil.
He was German. Well, whatever. The fantasy lives.
Yes, let the fantasy live on.
Stop. I'm not gonna burst your bubble, but I am.
Yeah, but I am.
Tonight.
Right.
I can't let it go. But yes, he is phenomenal. He is so sweet and very nice. And I saw somebody else mention his husband, who's also very, very sweet and nice, and they're just amazing to work with. So he wore the blue suit. I don't know if you saw the pictures of him with the blue suit on.
Oh yeah, and like the undone bow tie.
Yeah. His like assistant, I guess, masterminded that whole thing with my assistant. And he comes like strolling in and he walks right up to my table. And I had seen him by then, like we had hung out the night before. And he walks right up to my table and I just go like, oh my God, you look so nice. I wasn't even like thinking. And he was like, Sarah, I'm in the book model outfit. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you look so good. I felt like such an idiot. I felt so bad. So he hung out and near my table and we took a lot of pictures. We signed a lot of books together. And then he kind of went and swept the room. And you just hear like girls kind of shrieking everywhere he went. Like,
I bet I would have shrieked.
Well, a tagged video of him. That
yeah.
day.
And there were, I mean, people, I had to warn people like, hey, just FYI, like Daddy Ronan is just strolling around.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed.
Find the hot Brazilian man.
You're just bitter now. You're like, damn it.
Damn it.
Oh, I was going to write a book about it, but now that's over.
Listen, it can be anything you want.
No, maybe he took a trip to Germany. We don't know.
I'm saying.
I'm going to tell my husband and he's going to laugh at me.
I'm laughing at you.
I am so annoyed. I only had bright green Band-Aids and every time my hand goes in the shot, I'm like, get your hand out. That's so visually annoying to me seeing my green band. I've been ignoring these comments because I'm just so invested in you ladies and I feel bad.
I have a question. Oh, I have a question. Hers were very professional. Mine are not. Mine are like, hey, have you ever written a spicy scene that's even like made you blush as you're like writing it?
I mean, yeah, I guess, like, for sure. It always, I blush very easily, I'll say that. That probably surprises people, but I blush very easily. And a lot of the times when I'm writing scenes, I'm always like, oh my God, this is like really, really bad. And then I'll read another book or I'll go to my beta readers and they're like, it was nothing. I'm like, okay, well, let's just amp it up a little bit then.
Here we go.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Pegging, I don't know if I can say it on here. The scene in Mercy, like that one, I definitely was like, okay, all right, I can do this. You know, like I had to pump myself up for it because it was a lot.
Like, Mr. Cate, research.
That's what I'm saying. You're like, I need to take a 15. We're gonna need to go hang out for a little bit.
But I need to know what this is like for the sake of the book. So
yeah, trust me, I tried. I mean, I asked nicely. I said that.
That's like, great. No. He's like, I love you, but
no.
I don't think I could ever convince my husband to try that. And it wasn't ever something that I was like, maybe I would like that until I read the QB book.
QB Tyler. I was like, you're gonna say QB Tyler. I know it.
Yeah, what was meant to be?
What was meant to be? Oh. Yes. It was only because the way they explained it in that was like, it was the trust, and they almost made it less dirty and more intimate. And I was like, oh.
Because she's a sorceress with spicy scenes.
Yes, you guys are honestly like top dogs. I would in the taboo smut arena. Like, I always recommend your books to everybody because I'm like, if you want spicy, you're ready to dive in.
Yeah, without praise, I wouldn't have found half the books I found. because that opened up so much for me. I literally, after I read Praise, I went, and here we go. X's dad, A's dad. My husband was so upset for like a little bit because he's like, all you're reading about are older men and younger women. Oh, it's great.
I have this
Sorry.
guy who he's so like just a regular dude who's like, I want to get back into reading, and I haven't really read romance before. This was on Instagram. He DM'd me and said, I saw one of your videos like giving recommendations for like entry level spice. Like which ones do you think I should start with? And I was like, I'm gonna go easy on him. I'm gonna say like Tessa Bailey and like whatever the author of the romance book club was, like rom-coms. And he's like, well, I noticed this one book, Praise, on one of your things. Like, what would you think about that? Like, I mean, they're great books if you're ready to dive in. Those are just like a lot spicier than I would consider entry level. And he's like, I just bought it. Thanks for the recommendation.
He just
You recommended yourself a book, sir.
Yeah, whatever.
Him reading these books.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
oh wow! And him and his wife are both like in the military, and
That's sweet. I mean,
so
it's
sweet.
nice.
But I'm like, he just dove right in.
I like how he sold himself though. You didn't even sell it. He's like, I sold this book.
I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna buy it. Thanks.
That's a man who knows what he wants.
I know it. That's what I was gonna say. I'd be like, him and I were right here.
Yeah. I love them so much. I feel. Wait, hold on. I want to. You guys can talk for a sec. I want to go through my highlights from the highest bidder really quick because I feel like I had so many. I obviously won't go through all of them, but I want to find my favorites.
Do it. I do. So when you sit down to write, is that when things really come to you, or do you kind of plot during like random mundane acts throughout your day?
I wish. A little bit of both. So I'm a plotter. I like to know the story going in. So before I even start writing a book, I'll have the blurb done. You know, the back cover copy or whatever. I'll have it done. I know exactly what the story is, but some of the scenes might change a little bit or how things play out. I cannot brainstorm scenes very well sitting at my computer. So I'll either go take a shower, which is, I don't know why, just to place where ideas come, or I'll go for a drive, blast the music and just drive around town, get out of my house for a little bit and try to come up with something that way. But yeah, it's kind of 50-50.
I like that. We just learned you're really clean. Cool. You're just really fresh all the time.
But as somebody who I have purple hair, I can only wash my hair like once a week. So that shower is just me standing under the water.
You're like, I just need it.
Yeah, my hair is up and I'm just standing there like, I need an idea.
We'll just get you a shower cap. That's what I do. I shower cap my hair all the time.
Yeah, and she has to wash her hair separately on two sides so that her white side doesn't turn pink from her red.
I gotta tell you, showers in my house suck.
I hate hair washing day. I used to love it. Now I hate it because it's got to be cold.
Yeah.
So I got to do the cold thing.
Yeah. My neck's cramping because I'm like,
You know, I am just a bitch when it comes to cold. People who are like, you know what does wonders for your overall health? Ice baths. And I'm like, no, never.
Yeah, my health is fine.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, I guess I'm just gonna die young. Sorry.
Yeah.
So even when people are like, for the sake, like I'm a hairstylist, and I'll tell people like, for the sake of your hair color, like, will it last longer if you shower cold? Yeah. But will it be worth it to you? That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd much rather say like, if it's not a multicolored thing, like if I had your hair that's all purple, I would just get like a color depositing conditioner and I'd do those hot ass showers and then maybe just tone it more often with my purple conditioner.
Yeah. I just suffer through it. Like I wash really awkwardly with my head hanging like, oh God, it's so cold. But I also live in Arizona where it gets really hot here. So it's not actually that bad.
Okay. The picnic in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's a bucket list.
It's a bucket list.
In front of the Eiffel Tower now.
Well, I don't know why you're going to Italy. Change your plans.
Yeah, 100%. She's like, I need to be DJ'd in front of the Eiffel Tower.
The last time I was in front of the Eiffel Tower, I was with my actual dad. So we've got to change this to like my dad can't be there.
And you ruined it. Thank you.
So, but I like how you said your actual dad.
My actual dad,
not my daddy.
Not daddy, just dad, father.
So I'm like, the Eiffel Tower is a sexy place, okay? I just gotta get a sexy memory attached to it now. That was so hot. Also, I'm a sucker for a scene where they like, how do I say this? Like, push it back in, you know? The seed.
The gold.
Yeah. They're like, it's running down and they're like, no. I actually have a growing list of recs for books where they do that. It's like it's like the full trope for me, where I'm like,
I know some people who would really like that list.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
it's ever growing.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I think you see it on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and you're like, man, people really like this. I think we're gonna do it, or certain things like that, or
I haven't read any Rena Kent. Her books are normally dark, right? Oh, it's gonna.
I believe so.
Sorry. I know it's annoying. Terrible light, but
I clearly lost my light. So.
I know. What time zone are you in? You're like, I know I asked you. Was it Philadelphia? Are you Philadelphia? No, confusing with someone else.
I can't hear you. 1 second. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
One second. My husband's leaving, and he turned the car on, and my audio connected to the car, and so I was like, I can't hear you guys.
All the time.
I'm like, drive away. Go away.
Imagine that happening right as I'm like scooping the seed.
I had that happen at work. I had my phone connected to a Bluetooth speaker, and I turned off the Bluetooth speaker and then went to go and change for the gym, but my coworkers turned the Bluetooth speaker back on while I was listening to an audiobook while changing, and then all of a sudden the audiobook cut out. I went, no. I'm like shutting my phone off so fast. I'm like, no.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's good. Funny.
When I'm in my car, am very like detached from the outside world. Someone from work was like, oh, I was listening to a spicy audiobook in my car, but I always feel like when I pull up to a stoplight, I have to turn it down because other cars, like, they can hear it if it's loud enough, and I'm like listening to it. I'm just in my own little world, and they're like, and I plunged in and out.
You're like, wait, hold on, let's
straight face.
Roll the windows down.
I never think anyone can hear me, and I'm like, well, if they can,
when the bass drops with music, you're just bass dropping with spice.
Truly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is so funny. And in the French Club, are we going to see more of the French Club eventually?
Maybe. I really didn't plan it. Yeah, I didn't really plan for the French Club, but it was one of those things that just kind of popped up as I was writing, because I was like, they're in France. I'm like, we need a sex club. We need to sex club this story up, So that's how that came in. But again, like I said, I love spinoffs, and I love France. I love Paris. So I'm like, let's go back there. Maybe.
I loved the layout of like the open rooms where it was like museum style. Mm-hmm. That felt very French,
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's, hard having never really been to a sex club and not really wanting to go, honestly, trying to make them all different in some way. Like, you don't want them all to be the same. And obviously Salacious is the best. So trying to make them different is sometimes tricky. But I imagine, like, I don't know if you've ever been to like Europe or France, but a lot of those buildings are very, very old buildings, and they really do kind of just like add, other buildings. And so it's very intricate. You're constantly going through rooms, like It's not all open like it is here. So that was sort of.
It's very closed living.
Yes.
You know?
That's what I was trying to say, but I was not eloquently saying it.
We were picking up what you were putting down.
Good.
I love it though. The architecture there is so beautiful.
Yeah, I love Paris.
Yeah. My husband gets really bitter because whenever I talk about Paris, because we got married and then as soon as we got home from our honeymoon, I went to Paris for 2 weeks with my parents and my sister, because we had it planned before we ever got engaged. And so I was like, we got engaged and then planned our wedding in 3 months. And so it was like pretty fast paced. Neither one of us were like very patient people. So it was like,
you weren't a part of that plan, man. Sorry.
Should have been mom sooner. I don't know what to say.
My brand new bride just abandoned me.
Went to the city of love without me.
Truly. And he's like from Switzerland. And he's like, I've never been to Paris. Like, I'm the European. How sad. We need a real, right? That's the thing. Me and my husband have talked about visiting like sex clubs, but I always feel on the fence where I'm like, that could be really sexy, but also what if it's a turn off and I'm just like, it ruins the fantasy.
I want to go to one so bad.
I get that asked a lot. People ask me that a lot. If I've been to one and I am like, absolutely not. I've never been. I don't want to go. And it's mostly because I really wanted Salacious to be like completely a fantasy. I didn't want it inspired by a real place because I just felt like the real place was going to be disappointing. And so this is exactly what I think I would want it to be, but also I think what a lot of women would want it to be if it were real.
I also have not a good poker face. So I feel like, and it's not that I'm like judgment, like people can like whatever they want, but if I see something that I think is weird, you're gonna see it here.
You're gonna see it here.
Go to a sex club and be that person who's like, I just don't think I'd be chill enough, and I want it. Like I don't want to embarrass myself and then be like, get this rookie out of here.
I would be too. I'd be like, how I am while reading or listening. That's how I'd be. I'd be like.
I would be just completely like probably just dead face. Like I would be stunned, blushing, and just completely dead face. Yeah. And I would probably not be enjoying myself. Because I think in the ones in real life, you really are not allowed to drink. A lot of them probably don't even have alcohol at all. And so then you couldn't even be like a little buzz to like take off the edge. I'd be a mess. It wouldn't be fun.
I'd be a mess. That's great.
Good. I would totally like rent out a dungeon though. That would be fun.
Those are real. The thing and give me more. Those are real. And I mean, I'd like to do that. Maybe just to see it. That would be fun.
I even like we've talked about doing like meeting up and having a 24-hour like readathon and like
in a sex dungeon.
Well,
I'm gonna get us kicked off. Sorry.
I found
it's worth it.
That's like kind of in between us ish because we're both in Oregon, but we're like 5 hours apart. So it was kind of in this in-betweenish place, a little bit closer to me. And I'm like, look, I found this Airbnb. What happened to that? And it's got like the leather swings and like the cross and all the bedposts are like silk sheets and leather.
I said, please. And she said no. So she teased me with it.
It would be funny, but honestly, if you're going to read for 24 hours, you need cozy. Okay, you need.
She's like, this sex swing isn't doing it for me. You're just like this in the.
I just picture you like legs up in the swing, just like reading.
I'm not above anything. Okay, I'll do it.
I'll do it. I'm trying to read on the cross. I don't think
players binge. I'm like, okay, not to like. You know, this isn't a dig on you, Sarah, but how can you not be in an environment like that, read spicy books, and get a little horny? And if it's just the two of us, like...
First of all, I need you to know, if we're going to read smut at all times, I'm... I will literally be sitting.
Being in a snacks dungeon? No.
Oh my
It's just
God.
adding to it.
Oh, that's great.
That's good.
Like, hey Sarah, would you thank me? Chris won't do it.
Happily. Bend over, I got you.
Hmm.
And then if you get some alcohol, all bets are off. That's great.
Oh
Chris, I
man.
didn't know I had to worry about Sarah too.
Everyone has to worry about me. I am sex appeal.
If you do that, I need you to record like, or at least update us constantly.
You know those TikToks where people are like, after one drink, after two drinks.
That would be so, I would rent that place just for us to go and make like content. It would be so funny. Well, could we even post it or would we just get banned like left and right?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, instantly your account's gone forever. You should really
I don't know. I put a lot of work into that. I can't.
I don't know if you were around like TikTok. God, like maybe like right during the pandemic or maybe right at the end of the pandemic. Kink Talk was like huge on TikTok, and it was amazing because they would talk and it would be so educational and like they would show us their stuff. I mean, they didn't show anything really graphic, but they would just talk about it and it was amazing. It was a whole huge community. They like completely shut them down. I mean, just completely. And it was so wrong.
That's not fair. What? They're being educated. What?
I know.
A lot of it wasn't even like visually spicy content. They were just like, oh, here are my things, or here are things that you need to know about.
Yep.
Like, it was so educated.
I still follow so many of them, and like they're just like, I don't know what to talk about anymore. Like it's so sad.
Yeah,
I love
what's happening. I didn't even know that was a thing. No, I was trying to be trendy with the dances, and then I learned I can't dance. So
I suck at dancing too.
No, you know that Pedro Pascal where he's like doing that across the screen? That's me dancing. Not as hot, but
some of these people, it looks like they're barely moving, and it still looks so sexy. And then I try to do it, and I'm like, no.
I don't dance.
Stop.
I do not dance.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw Tiffany ask a question. Tiffany, what did you say? Okay, don't let me scroll away. How long did you need to recover from Denver? Listen, like days. My husband went with me and we flew in. We got in at like 9:00 in the morning. We got home. We went to bed like we were recovering from international travel. Like we slept for like 6 hours. It was an 1.5-hour flight. Like, yeah. So yeah, that thing was crazy.
How long is Book Bonanza? Is it like the same length, like 3 days?
I think it's like Thursday to Sunday. Well, Thursday to Saturday. I don't think there's a whole lot going on Sunday. Everybody usually leaves on Sunday.
But the event doesn't start till Friday?
I think it's a 2-day, so they like do a little bit of signing on Friday and a little bit of signing on Saturday.
So then
I think. Don't quote me on that.
Sunday.
We're gonna hold you to it. I'm telling you, we remember.
You guys remember? Sara Cate said.
That's the thing that's so hard is that like there are some people out there who are like, you know how you have Jill and she knows everything. I need a Jill because I'll literally read a book and be like, I don't remember their names as soon as it's over.
Oh, Jill doesn't remember my names either. Trust me.
No. I was gonna say I have book amnesia so bad it's not even funny. I'm like, did I actually read that? Am I sure?
That's why like sometimes if I get too busy and I don't film a review for a book like within 2 or 3 days after finishing it, I just have to let it go because I'm just gonna sit there for an hour being like, what happened?
How do I feel about this?
Well, even for The Highest Bidder, I was so hyped about it. Like, I just loved it so much that I filmed my spoiler-filled review for it, like, the day I finished it because I just wanted the hype to be fresh for it. But then it was in my drafts for, like, weeks before I was allowed to post it.
Love those drafts.
Yeah. Lifesaver, coming in hot.
People would not have been happy with that spoiler-filled review before it came out.
No, absolutely.
They would have come for you.
I'm sure you wouldn't have appreciated it. I think I was signed up for an LC Silver thing, and they talked about doing reviews, like if you got an ARC for it, doing reviews or for it within the next within 7 days of release, but that they weren't supposed to have spoilers in it. And so when I signed up for it, I put in the notes like, okay, question. That I totally want to be respectful of that. All my reviews are spoiler filled. So like,
what do you want me to do here?
Can I just wait the 7 days and then post it afterwards? Is that just something you don't want out there at all for your books? Because I totally don't want any author to be peeved at me for spoiling their books. Because like, that's your work and whatever. But I'm also like, that's what I do.
That's what I do. I think like
especially if things sound interesting, like someone will spoil a whole story for me and it'll make me want to read it versus other people are like, no. So, like that's the kind of people I've accrued, people who also really like spoilers too, and it convinces them to read things. But I definitely know there's people out there who are like, no, I can't follow you because you ruin everything.
I mean, every author is different and every reader is different. And so I'm not usually a big stickler on spoilers, mostly because, I mean, I write romance. They end up together. Here are some of the spicy shit that goes on. Like, it's really not super spoilery for me, but yeah, but I know some people, it's like, just scroll. Like, you see highest bidder and you don't want to know what happens, just scroll. Like, just don't look.
As long as you say, I always say that there are spoilers. So if anyone gets caught off guard, it's like, well, you weren't reading with your eyes.
You weren't paying attention. Yeah. And I think like there's a lot, it's all in the scenes. So like marketing, especially now on like TikTok for books, it's no longer the premise. It's always the scenes or the line, the one line the guy says will make somebody pick up a book. And so it's like, if you want to share all these scenes that were in it, like go for it, because it's those scenes that's going to make people, you know, if you tell everybody he DJ'd her in front of the Eiffel Tower, people are going to be like, okay, I want to read that. Like,
I would. There were so many, like, just every time you dropped a little crumb leading up to this release, I was like, had heart palpitations every time I read it. Like, she's giving us something. I felt like a crazy person.
Just wait until Madam.
Feral for it. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be so good. Like, you dropped so much more for Eden in this one than I feel like you have in other books because of her relationship with Ronan. Can I just say that was something that me and Sarah both, when she was helping him out with the impact play, as soon as she got Ronan involved, as soon as she went to eat the kitty, we were like, no! Eat it!
We're not a fan of eating the kitty?
Not because like that was his whole thing. He didn't want to share and he was doing it for her. It was hot. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
but it was hot.
It was hot. But I think he's one of the only men who has been super possessive. I mean, I guess Emerson was. He was, and I liked that. That's probably why he was one of my favorites.
I was gonna say, did we forget the whole room scene where we were about to share Charlie and he was not into that? He was like,
that was never meant to be that. Like, she didn't get that. Did she? I forgot that. Did she go down on Charlie?
No.
He just kind of touched her.
They were like making out though, and they were like getting ready.
Yes, which is probably why I went all the way with highest bidder, because I was like, I teased this and praised.
Edged us. I was so ready.
And Eyes on Me. I was like, we're going all the way. Also, I mean, I think it was a testament to his relationship with Eden that he trusted her enough. This is not just like some random person. This is like his best friend, like, you know, who he trusts. And also she was making her feel good, and that's all he wants. So it's like.
Do you think the reason that they haven't slept together, even though they've played together, is like because of their friendship? Like, they just never wanted to cross that boundary? Because I feel like if you play often enough with someone, the boundaries would blur, and you'd be like, why not? Like, we're already naked in the
So,
same room.
yeah, from what I've, read and seen, not, playing together doesn't always mean intimacy with that person, but it's always about filling a role within that scene that you need filled or that you want to play. But also they really are just friends. And so we'll learn more about their history in Madam and sort of why they've never crossed that line. But I love a good male female platonic relationship where he's just so respectful of her that he's never crossed that line. He's never wanted to, and but he loves and respects her as if she's his wife. Like, there's just that level of love and respect.
You could tell. I love how they both have private rooms, first of all. Like, she's not even officially an investor, right? But they're like, is she? Is she like,
I don't know, you just made a face, so
I mean, she's obviously invested in Salacious, but
oh, for sure. But it almost seems like it's less. I mean, is she have secret trust fund bank? Like,
she's not as rich as Ronan, I'll say that.
No, she's not. So it seems like what she brought to the table was more like her expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's what they really value, and that's why she had her private space. But I didn't get the vibe that she was like a huge donor or anything. Like,
no, I mean, she's a professional dom, so although she doesn't work at Salacious, she still works at Salacious, so there's definitely that vibe. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I am a spoiler whore, so
if you ever need to bounce ideas, I mean, I got you. I do all the time. Like, literally, when the whole like movie thing dropped, I was like, "Do you need someone to fetch your coffee? Do you want me to fan anybody? I got you. Do you need a demo person to like crawl across the floor to see how it works? I got you."
I'll be there with like a can of Evian, making people look sweaty.
Baby oil, I got you.
That's got to be a job. Like, how do you get that job?
And they're like, "Do you have anybody that you could think of that could help?" Absolutely. We have a whole stack of them on TikTok. Yes. They're all willing.
Let me tell you.
They work for free. Okay.
I have a whole workforce just ready.
For sure. If they're like, man, we're short on extras, you're like, don't even ask TikTok. You'll have just like crazy people showing up, but like big fans. And by crazy people, I mean like me and Sarah over here. You're just like, professionally though. We'll be cool. Sorry. I just like audience. We'd be the picture of professionalism for you. Internally, probably dead.
This will be me. Just like, hi, how are you? Good to meet you. Yeah, 100%. If you need a makeup artist, I got you. I see it in here. I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah, I was like, what is that? Thanks for clearing that up.
It's okay. I just found out what the happily ever after was when people are like HEA. I was sitting there. I'm like, happy endings.
So when I got my hair license, I was also a licensed makeup artist, and I did that for a long time. I haven't done makeup professionally for like 5 or 6 years. I decided I prefer doing it more for family and friends instead of strangers. But my business email was like Cassandra and like MUA. Or it was MUAH because it was makeup and hair. And everyone just thought it was like a kiss. Like, Mwah. Oh, Cassandra. I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. You don't get it.
Mwah. You don't understand.
I'm a professional.
At the end.
I know. It seems like I don't know, an email I came up with in middle school. They're like, oh yeah, Cassandra. Like, this is my business email.
That's funny.
So, okay. I know we got to wrap things up soon. Things are getting late, but your next book is not a part of the Salacious Players Club. and I know you don't want to say much about it, but you did say it was coming out in the summertime?
Correct.
And is it at all connected? Can you say that? Is it in the same world?
It's in the same world. There might be a really small connection.
Okay. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Sarah's over here like, she's trying to read those facial expressions.
100%. I'm over here. I'm like, and you're edging me. Got it.
What is it like in those cop shows where, what was it, The Mentalist, where he would read micro expressions on people? Did you ever watch that show?
No, but yeah, I'd be screwed.
They like brought him on as like a consultant or whatever, like one of those cop shows where he solves all these murders, but he has no like degree in anything criminal, whatever. And yeah, he would just come on and be like, "They're guilty. We don't have a." He'd be like, "I can tell by the way they're shaking their right knee."
Yeah, I'd be screwed. I'm really bad at this. But yeah, it's because I want to say everything, but I can't. Like, you know, you gotta release things all at the right time, and you know, it's like just the whole marketing part of it, which is just no fun because I just want to tell everybody everything.
Yeah. Salacious Players Club, I would say, would you say is like your most popular?
Oh, by far.
What would you say is your most underrated book that you feel like you wish more people would read in your backlist? Because I just signed up for, and I don't know if I'll get it, but for your audiobook ARC list, and it asked in the thing like, how many of these books of Sara Cate have you read? And there were so many that I was like, I've never even heard of these books.
Yeah, okay, so the books I think are on I'm gonna say actually Burn for Me because it's my darkest book. Okay, no, I take that back. I see 4 and 5. That's Issa. Issa, yes. 4 and 5 are my darkest books, but that was Rachel. That wasn't me. Burn for Me was
co-wrote, right?
Yes, yeah. It's a dark, white shoes, like kind of mafia assassin romance. There's a daddy in it.
Yeah, and I knew which scene you wrote too. I knew it. I was like, you're not gonna tell me this wasn't Sara Cate's piece.
I'll tell you exactly which scenes I wrote. I'm proud of those.
That was me. That was me.
That was me. That was me. Yeah, I think Burn for Me just because like Gravity and Freefall get a good amount of love, but like Burn for Me is just that one that it's so different. It's, you know, it's a sort of a college-y sports. She's older, teacher, student romance, and it's a little dark. He's a little harsh, but I mean, I loved writing that book, so.
Literally me like adding it to my TBR like right this moment. Well, because I loved the beautiful ones you did. Was it Beautiful Monster and Beautiful Sinner?
Those are like baby Sara Cate books, like little.
I loved them.
Little wee baby Sara Cate wrote those.
I didn't know who you were. It was like before I was on book. I listened to the audiobook for it, and I was like, this is so good. I think I made a video about it a while back, being like, I thought of it, and I didn't remember the name of the book, so I literally just Googled like girl who paints mural.
I think you told me this, yeah.
And like it immediately came up, and I was like, that's a Sara Cate book? Crazy. That was Beautiful Monster, and you were like, you should read Beautiful Sinner, and I didn't even know it had a second book. And it was about the sister.
It's a sister. It's a spinoff. Yeah, it's a priest romance. Set in Ireland because I love Europe. I love to set books in Europe. So I'm like,
it's so great. Oh, it's so great. You have to read it. You have to.
Okay.
I'm gonna force you. I message you every day. Have you read it yet?
No, I haven't, because I think as soon as I did, I was like, oh, this is no judgment to you, but I have a weird thing about priests in books, because I grew up Christian, and I didn't grow up Catholic, but I think I have a hard time in my brain crossing over religious figures with like dirty smut.
I don't.
I I know, but I just like I kind of wrecked through that boundary of mine because I was sent this book called Unfurl by Elodie Hart, and I didn't know what it was about before. I just heard age gap sex club, and I was like, sold. So she sent it to me, and this whole book was this woman working through her Catholic trauma, and a lot of that was through her fulfilling these priest fantasies at this club, and it was
Sarah
like a lot.
into it, she's vibing.
Yeah, it was like group activities with multiple priests, and I was like, oh, remember how I had that one boundary? Just
So what was the name of it again?
Yeah, whenever she's vibing over here, she's
Unfurl.
like, yes, I need it.
It's called Unfurl.
Okay.
Spicy.
Somebody
But
asked.
it does have a monogamous ending. It's not a white choose, but there's lots of group activity.
I love group activities. Shit, I lost it. Somebody asked if I wrote chapter 13 and 4. You're gonna have to remind me what chapter 13 was. Probably. If it's really dirty, then yes.
They're like, have you gotten to this chapter of that book, or do you remember what happened? Like, I don't remember chapter numbers. Never.
Yeah, you gotta give me scene descriptions. I ain't,
You did that to me too, Sarah. When you were reading The Ravenhood, you were like, oh yeah, I just hit chapter like
25,
31,
and
I'm
it's
like,
because we all know what happened in chapter 25 of that book, so fight me.
is that the first one or the second one?
If it's Exodus, it's always 25.
See, I don't remember.
Well, it was traumatizing, so...
I remember what happened in the book. I just don't remember what chapter.
I've never even read it, and I know.
Yeah, I'm telling you. That's just the universal knowledge, okay?
Well, they always refer to 2 chapters. There's like in Flock, like the group scene where they first see her.
I don't know which one that is.
And I'm like,
no. My number one rule is you can't do me dirty like chapter 25 did. If I find out your book does me dirty, I'm out. Get rid of it.
I've never that mean.
Don't ever kill off a character, Sarah.
Okay.
I will send you a novel.
Mom.
I'll try.
As it was like in her next book, she's like, and scrapping that scene.
Delete. No, I don't, I'm not, yeah.
This is my last thing, okay? When are we actually going to get this song for the highest bidder? You, like, closed door on us. I need to hear it.
Listen, I'm not a songwriter.
You're like, I write books.
Find me a songwriter.
Write a song called The Highest Bidder. I needed to hear it.
I would love that. Because there would be like cheese in it. Like it would be really cute. It would remind me so much of like just one of those cute little singer-songwriter kind of books. Songs with like all these references to things that would be so sweet.
Yes.
Like
if
cheese.
If anyone in here has read it and is musically talented,
want to write a song?
Please. You know what? My sister writes music. Maybe I'll just have her
do it. Just give her the scenes, just make her read them, and then just be like, and create.
And make a song.
Series, but
and it's got to be on the piano.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
That was the one thing. I was like, I needed to hear lyrics too.
I'm one of those people where like, I know not everybody, maybe this is why I've never written a rock star romance, but like, I hate reading music in a book. I know a lot of people are like that. Like if there's song lyrics or if anybody singing in a book, I instantly just like, ugh, I don't know why. I just don't like it. Like it's so weird. Usually because the way it plays in your head is awful. Like
totally. Yeah, I can't. The rhythm. I don't have the rhythm to be. So it just sounds like like spoken word poetry at that point, and I'm not good at that. So it's just not okay.
So I thought about writing her some lyrics, and I was just like, no, this is gonna be terrible. Like this is
gonna be terrible.
And then my poor audiobook narrators are gonna be like, what do I do with this? Like I don't know. Write a song. Like make it a song.
That's kind of how I felt in the words whenever they like talked about the lyrics. I'm like,
how are we singing this? I need to know the tone.
But I was so emotionally invested in this that like I would have loved it in this one, even though most of the time it is kind of cringe.
I mean, hey, you can write it, and we'll put it out there.
Do it. I love that. Put it on. Add it to Sarah's Spotify playlist for.
I do. I was so obsessed. I instantly went to Spotify and made a whole Spotify playlist for Ronan and Pederson. I do. I have one.
The daddy playlist. So good.
I want to hear this daddy playlist.
I will happily. First of all, okay, so I was gonna tell you about it, but then I was like, I feel like I slide into your DMs so much that I'm like, I don't want to be annoying.
You're not annoying. No, you have to.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. Absolutely. Now that you've opened the gate, we're going for it.
Like, you're my best friend now, Sarah.
100%.
Send it to me. I want to hear it. I love playlists. Like, I'm a playlist hoe. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What is a genre? Oh, this is I always said it was my last question. I do have to go here in a second, but is there a genre or trope that you haven't written yet that you are like want to maybe dip your toe in the future?
Let's see. I've never done fake dating. I've never done. Oh, hang on. I've done student teacher. I've never done rock star. I might, maybe. I think rock stars are sexy. Could be really fun. I've never done a full length MM. And I've never done FF. Definitely want to do that.
I'm surprised. I thought that one book would be FF in the series, and I was like, it's either going to be Maggie or Eden. But
God, we're gonna have so many good books coming out here soon. I'm gonna be so in debt.
I don't want that.
I'm okay with it. You only live once.
YOLO.
Thanks for saying yes to hanging out with us.
Oh, of course. It was a blast.
I've had so much fun. I also feel like maybe I bulldoze over some of Sarah's questions. I'm so sorry. Do you have any more questions?
I was just happy to be here. I'm like, Sara Cate, I'm like, hi. It's good to actually see you in person. I was so nervous for Cassandra knows. I have a nervous bladder. I peed like 4 times before this. I was like, I'm never gonna stop peeing. I'm actually like holding in right now. So like when she was like, I gotta go, I'm like, so do I. I gotta go too.
Yeah, a whole coffee and a whole.
I know, my drink's empty.
Like full bladder. Gotta go put my child to sleep. This was so much fun. Thank you.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for inviting me and for hanging out and just being a blast. You guys are so fun. Yeah. So
I'm manifesting that I'm gonna meet you in person one of these days.
You need to. You need to come to a
sign. Like I'll have actually met you. Like it's gonna be hard not to be like, oh yeah, we haven't already met.
We have. It is. Once you kind of meet in person, you're sort of like, well, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
I will be in Seattle next year, but not until like September of next year.
I got those tickets ASAP. I literally, you put it up and I instantly went and bought. So I'll meet you then.
Yes, I think Tiffany let us know about that because neither of us were in the Facebook group at the time. And that was where like the information dropped for it. And she's like, I don't even know how to get the tickets for it. And I want to go, but I'm waiting until it's a little closer to
like, it's a little far away. It's like a year and a half away.
I signed my life away with that. I was like, and so
it's like what, September of 2024?
It is 100%,
yeah. Yep, and I will just be coming back from Scotland like the weekend before. Nice. But I was like, I've never been to Seattle. I love that company's like events, the Southern Bells. Their events are awesome. So I was like, I'll come. Like I'm in Arizona. Like Arizona, Seattle's not terrible. So
yeah. Someone in the comments way early on mentioned Sam Heughan potentially for Emerson. I cannot picture him as anything other than Jamie from Outlander.
I mean, I feel like he could. Every time somebody like says somebody like British or Scottish or Irish, I'm always like, listen, I never said Emerson like was American. Like I was never like he was born in California. Like, I mean, maybe he is. Like, how hot would that be to hear him say "good girl" in that accent? Like, Come on. Done. We would break the box office like with that alone. It would be.
Yeah, that's the same as like me picturing Hugh Jackman in an Australian accent. Can you imagine?
Any accent. I mean, honestly,
in an Australian accent. So good.
it'd be so good.
Okay, well, I gotta go.
Okay.
Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much.
girls.
It was so much fun. I love you both.
Bye. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.